welcome to the lab, bro.
Yo, thank
Back
you.
in the lab. So today I have my guest is Xavier Williams. And, it's fun coming into this business. I get to meet so many interesting realtors and different people that are specialists in the market area. But the last time you and I were talking, you had a very unique outlook on coming into this industry.
Definitely.
And I think one of it was being authentic.
Yes. So I can say I didn't originally come up with the idea of authenticity when coming into real estate, but it came the second time around. So initially I came in, I figured, suit and tie, you got to look the part, perform the part, and that's exactly what it is. And that lasted for only so long, and it only kept my interest for so long. Just like with many other things where I ended up working in real estate for about a year or so, a little over a year. And then I ended up straying away from it just because I felt like I was losing myself and I didn't feel necessarily comfortable. Fast
How long
forward.
have you been in now?
This is going to be going over 3 years now.
3 years now.
Over 3 years now. Yep.
What did you do before you got into real estate?
Before I got into real estate, I was bartending.
Okay.
Bartending, serving. When I first moved out here, I got my Series 7. So I was looking into...
Where'd you move from?
New York. Long Island, New York.
Long Island.
Yeah, Long
Right
Island,
on.
New York. Yeah, moved around a bit. I guess just to backtrack. So coming from Long Island, New York, ended up going to Loyola University in Maryland. Was out there for 4 years, finished up. Then road tripped out here. Been out here now just over 7 years. Got into the restaurant industry, opened up a couple places, managed a couple places, bartended, and then fast forward a little bit, I was like, I kind of want to change career paths. Still kept with the bartending, but got into real estate. And
I feel like the bartending is such a gateway previous employment into real estate for some reason.
it is.
Because I know we have a lot of agents that work here. So, but I've talked to so many different agents that were like, oh yeah, I bartend. Some of them still bartend to this day.
Yes.
Right. And some pretty nice restaurants I found out. Right.
That's right.
And they're really successful agents in what they do. But for some reason, I feel like a bartender's ability to connect with people, like you don't know these people out of the blue and you're just chatting it up with them and you're building rapport. And somehow that translates into real estate.
It does. It's seamless. I mean, if you do your homework, which I did my research in finding out which team I wanted to be on or whether I wanted to be a solo agent, and I ran into Porchlight, and Porchlight offered a university, which made the process super seamless when it comes to originality, being yourself, and then pairing that with the knowledge of real estate. It was easy. It was flawless. And I was talking with a buddy not too long ago that I was bartending with, and I was like, man, like, bartending isn't for everyone. Like you honestly have to come with humility. You have to have humor. You have to be able to connect with someone in just a couple of seconds and make it work. Otherwise, you lost them. Sometimes, I mean, you want to say it depends on what they're eating, right? You want to say it depends on the beverage, right, that they order. But at the end of the day, most people, they come back for the experience that you provide. And that's the same thing with real estate. That's how you hold on to a client.
Beautiful epiphany.
Yeah. And it feels good. It feels good when it happens.
Yeah. But that is a very unique perspective, I think, from a lot of people, because when they get into this industry, I feel like they have to conform to what they think a realtor's job is. And that's one of the unfortunate things. I think with the way we operate here is a little bit unique because they do strength on the person's individual persona. A lot of respect for that. You don't have to be the suit and tie guy every single day.
Yep.
However, on the opposite end of that is that by being able to be more authentic and by being the person that you feel you are versus who you think you need to be. I see this because I've been doing this for such a long time, where agents come into this business almost like a used car salesman.
Yes.
Because they're like, oh, now I'm in sales. Hey, you want to buy a house? Hey, here's death by 1,000 paper cuts with my business cards, right? And in reality, it's about that organic connection.
Yep. At the end of the day, I I would say this is probably three months ago.
Okay.
3 months ago, I was holding an open house for one of our agents on our team, and I was like, man, like this is an incredible listing. How could I be different but still be myself? I was like, well, I'm definitely not wearing a suit and tie, but the price point of that home required something like that. I was like, but I don't want to do that because I know that's just not me. Like, I know anyone who comes in the house, I will be trying to connect with them rather than just enjoying the connection with them. Mm-hmm. So what I ended up doing was bringing in my apron, bringing in a couple of tins, setting up some cocktails and some non-alcoholics, some cocktails for the guests. And it was, quote unquote, somewhat of a brunch kind of service. And there was no pressure involved. It was basically just like, hey, welcome in my open house. I let them know all the features of the home.
I need a picture of that, bro.
I've got some for you. That's
so sick, though.
They just joined me inside of the kitchen area, and instead of, like most open houses, people usually shy away from realtors because they just feel like they're going to be bogged down, where I just created a space where it was just like, hey, I'm inviting you into this house. You can enjoy some time with me in the kitchen.
Right.
And that is exactly what I'm trying to incorporate in my business these days.
That's awesome, bro. Because I think you create a warm space like that.
Necessary.
I feel like, call me crazy.
Not today.
Yeah. But have you ever walked into Macy's and you get that lady that has a perfume?
I haven't lately.
No, but you know
but I know what you're talking about. I know.
Right when you walk in and she's up there, she's like, "Would you like some?" And you're like, "No, I'm good." You get that stiff arm real quick.
Yes.
I feel, and this is me because I'm a lender and sitting in the space of the open house, right, watching this go on, and it's very reminiscent of watching somebody walk into Macy's and having the person with a perfume right there, ready to spray them.
Yes.
Right, and by diffusing that and setting up an environment the way you did, that's thinking out of the box.
Necessary for survival, I think. Because I can't say that everyone is given the tools, but there's a foundation here at Porchlight. There's a foundation provided, and then you can do what you will with that. You can run with it, but I mean, bring a little bit of yourself in the mix. It can't hurt. Right.
Yeah. But, but it's fascinating to hear a fresh perspective because, when I got in the business and I started in La Jolla. And so, especially bald-headed Hispanic dude rolling in La Jolla, I had to put my suit on. So I'm not like a cholo in the suit.
Yeah,
right. But I would always try to say, let them hear me speak. Just let them hear me speak. So they just an opportunity to hear what I had to deliver. Right. And when I'm seeing how you're operating, it's when we were talking the other day about that, and we were talking to who was it? He's from Italy.
Cristiano.
That's right.
Yep, Cristiano.
And his story coming from Italy.
Yes.
And when you chimed in and stating on how you perceive the business and the level of authenticity and how you bring that to the table, what did I say? I'm like, dude, don't ever lose that.
Yeah.
That's a very unique stance. A lot of us start becoming this alter ego. And your response was like, no, I'm actually going to stay true to myself.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. I mean, I've been through it first time around. I really thought I was just a salesperson, right? Selling real estate, and things clicked. Not nearly as quickly as I wanted them to, but I definitely didn't feel comfortable throughout that time period. Coming back into it, I was like, I mean, if this is something I'm gonna be doing, I got to be doing it for me, how I want to be doing it, in a way that's gonna provide longevity, and that's sticking to my guns and what feels good.
What brought you to that conclusion?
I think coming out of it last time and taking a step back, right? Just playing music, connecting with friends, and then ultimately being like, man, like, I mean, I like real estate. Like, there's no reason why I really stopped, and I thought about it. Like, man, like I like every single part of the process, right? Development, the connection with the clients, searching homes. But why did I stop? And the only reason why I stopped was primarily because I didn't feel like I was being myself.
What made you want to get into the real estate industry to begin with?
Man, so I can go back to as far as, I was probably, and I guess I didn't know at the time, right? I definitely didn't know at the time. So growing up, family of 7, I'm the last. Our father would always have us building something, right? Whether it be like an ADU in the back, like hands-on. We're not licensed contractors, but he had us helping. Or I was probably around like 10, 11, something like that, watching ACTV growing up, just on the couch where, I'd be doing like SpongeBob or like Yu-Gi-Oh or something, but then I'd flip to HGTV and I'd be watching the Twins and something like that. And I'm just like, man, like this is really cool, you know? I mean, I never gotten to like selling Sunset. It's just not my speed. But fast forward, I think it's just that little transition period from bartending, speaking with people, and I was like, man, it's fun, you know? Fun.
Did you happen to come across a lot of realtors there at the bar?
I didn't come across a lot of bartenders who were realtors.
Yeah. You have to watch an old movie, bro. I'll find it for you on YouTube. It's called Glenn Ross.
I've heard of that, but I don't know what it's about.
Okay, it's like a 1990s movie. Alec Baldwin.
Okay.
A bunch of top key actors. Bro, if it's not the real estate life, I don't know what is, dude. And it goes through all these different personas of like the top producer to like the guy that's been in the business for 40 years.
I need to watch it.
It's so sick. And there's so many one-liners in there. Coffee's for closers. It's so sick, dude.
Of course.
But I love it because they go into the bar, right? Which I stopped drinking. And for health purposes, just to be more coherent.
Beautiful.
But the beautiful thing about that coherentness and going into the bar is now seeing that, again, being more authentic. I could be I'm like, well, I don't need alcohol to be myself, right? Which is one cool thing. But the second thing is like when all these realtors have like that hard ass deal and the first thing they go to is like happy hour at the bar because in that business, dude, everybody's going to the bar for like networking. Hey, another network, dude. If this business either does not make millionaires, it makes alcoholics,
yes,
bro. I'm telling you, dude.
It's wild.
It's crazy. But it's weird though, taking that step back and being able to be coherent in what is going on in the world around.
Yes.
But that movie is crazy because it just has them going into the bar and you can see them wanting to detach.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit down and watch that one.
Hard and difficult, bro. It's such a crazy movie. Yeah, I had a bunch of DVDs that I had bought before they stopped, like getting DVDs on Amazon,
all that.
Yeah, just to save it, just to make sure if it's on you, I'll send it to you,
please.
So now that you have this epiphany, and I can just imagine going into the open house, and then you have this apron on, and your cocktails are all laid out, mixologist. Going to town and being a consumer walking in and seeing something like that off the street, that's got to be like disarming for anybody to walk into that front door.
Definitely.
Like, what is this?
Definitely. Because at the end of the day, for myself, as long as I am being myself without a question, they can come into the same space, share the same space. It's no longer about what I'm doing, but then I get to have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
And then it's beyond what I look like. It's beyond the suit and tie. And for me that is the most important thing. Because there are definitely going to be clients out there, there are going to be people out there who it doesn't matter who you are, they don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
And you like being in the real estate game, you just have to understand like that's just the way it works, right? Some people are going to connect with you. I had a lady come to that open house right off the bat. She said, we're going to be best friends.
No way.
We're going to be best friends. We're still searching for properties today. She's looking for 2 to 3 million cash. Still talking every single day. But the idea was I was being myself and not trying to be someone else. And I tell you what, like my first bout in real estate, suit and tie, I was sweating. With the blazer on, like just trying to get people to talk to me, where I was I had an apron on. I
It's
didn't
hard,
look
bro.
like an agent.
You know, I feel like, and it's really, this is a really bad habit. I've seen this, is that we start becoming this alter ego. I think I was telling you about that.
Yeah.
And I've witnessed it. I've witnessed it in our industry where the alter ego, that sales switch turns on, their alter ego turns on, and now they're like, hey, what's going on? Carlton Woodring, you know, just over there trying to chat it up. And then the switch turns back off, and then they're back to their regular dude. And I feel like that when somebody continues to live in that alter ego space, the alter ego starts to take over
your entire life.
It's almost like, I think, what were we talking about? Batman.
Yeah.
I think it was Batman, right? Like Batman, even though he's Bruce Wayne, and Batman is Bruce Wayne's alter ego, and the reason he becomes Batman is because he witnesses his parents get murdered in the alley, and he just doesn't stop reliving it.
Yep.
But because he becomes Batman, we start forgetting about the Bruce Wayne, and he's just Batman,
just
24/7, 24/7, instead of, you know, filling that void or that hurt that he had in his trauma, and then just living on his billionaire life. And if you want to be a crime fighter, God bless you for doing good in humanity.
That's right.
But not from the position of revenge. That's not authentic, right? Yet Superman, on the opposite, is super all around, but chooses to live like Clark Kent.
Yes.
Chooses to live humbly and in service and servitude, not trying to prove anything.
If you can't, why not?
But how crazy is it? His alter ego is actually the simplistic guy.
Yes.
It could be that easy.
It could be that easy.
It could be that easy. It's a lot to be said. It's a lot to be said, you know, and I think when you start living in that alternate ego space, just like any other ego, it wants to protect itself. And so when you start seeing red flags, you start ignoring the red flags because you're trying to continue to protect that alter ego that is up on a pedestal.
Definitely.
And it's great to see someone like you getting into the business and really embracing their authentic self, coming into it and literally leveraging off of it.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Trying. I don't think it's talked about enough though when agents just get their foot in the door with real estate, that there is so much looming over your head and coming from so many different directions.
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, like you study, you take your test, you're like, oh, like this is what real estate's about. Like, it's one path. And then you get in it and you're like, oh my God.
I don't think it's a path, bro. It's just like a definition.
No path.
It's just a definition. It's
done.
It's what's the last section of a book when it has like the syllabus of this definition of terms?
Yeah. Yes.
It's not even like the book.
No.
You know what I mean? It's like the last 5 pages.
No. Which is beautiful. It is beautiful, but like,
yeah.
Only once you understand, like,
what's a parcel?
That's what's going on.
Yeah. I try to remember what's the one where they call it. It's like we never use it. It's not a acre. It's the one that's like a bigger than an acre. Oh my gosh, dude! Somebody asked me this question the other day.
Not a plot.
No. It's I forget. It'll come to me in just a bit. It's some stupid definition, but somebody popped me the other day with it. Hey, do you know what da-da-da is? I'm all. I've heard that before.
Let me open that book.
Yeah,
That'll get me the sale. I promise
that
you.
before, bro. It was, yeah. Anyhow, so that's cool. So now that you have this part of your business going, how are you seeing it going forward as you start building your brand? Like, what is your vision going in your mind in that space?
I think it's evergreen, right? So I think it's bound to change with the seasons, and it's hard to say that, right? When we're in California, San Diego specifically,
you chose to get into the business when it's not the most easiest time in the business, but you're getting success out of it.
When I first started, it was the same deal. I mean, it was definitely a little bit slower for most agents, and
2018.
Yeah, end of 2018.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, coming back in, I'm just like, honestly, like, it feels the same, but I mean, obviously we're seeing a little bit more differences.
Yeah.
Right? Which is totally fine. But for me, zero fear, because I was like, I mean, as long as I'm doing the legwork and I'm sticking to my guns, just being myself, I don't care. Like, I'm here to hustle. That's it.
There's a lot to be said about that.
Here to hustle.
I think with agents, when they get caught up into the existing market conditions, like if prices are coming down or the woe is me, and it's really easy to get into that space. But when you detach from it and you're just a facilitator of transaction,
Yep.
it changes everything. You're like, hey, I have no emotional buy-in to what the market conditions are. I'm just going to work.
Yeah.
And that's unique. And it's good that you're coming into the business for the second time around in a not easy market, because it just is, you know? And then when it's Goldilocks times, then you're like, bro, I can't handle this.
That's right.
This is just too busy. Yeah.
That 2020, 2021.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What goes up must come down.
Yep.
And then the same way around. Yeah.
So are you like, so then as you set up your mixology and whatnot, what is your typical game plan then now as you start servicing your clients? So now that you have them, you make the connection.
Yeah.
And what is that kind of game plan for you?
A little bit more specific on that question for me.
So servicing a client, like when you start, once you have somebody, they're now, dude, Xavier, this guy's a cool guy. I want to work with him.
Yeah.
I want to buy this $3 million house. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
How do you transition that initial connection now into business?
Number one game plan. I would hope for everyone is follow up. I used to be pretty heavy with texting. I spoke with a decent amount of people, and they're like, "Hey, you should probably incorporate like emails." I'm like, man, like I already get so many emails. I'm just not big on it, but the important ones, yeah, of course I'm going to open. So what I figured was, hey, like I'm huge with social media. I create videos on the fly. It usually takes me it'll take me only so long just to make the videos, less than 10 minutes to edit, and I push it to my clients like right away. And I'm doing that consistently.
I love that.
Every single weekend, every time I'm checking out a property. It might not necessarily be like spot on what my client is looking for, but at the end of the day, it'll give them an idea.
Yeah, but there's something to be said about that, bro, because, when back in the day, we would go on email, and there's something that's lost in connection in an email.
Yep.
Tonality.
Yes.
Character.
Yes.
Right? Intent. Things get lost. And then even like in text message is cool, but it's instant because, like they say, like 95% of people read their texts, right? So now you get a better capture rate via text. Awesome. But as we start growing, and this is why I like talking to people like yourself, you're starting to incorporate these mini videos. And when you were explaining that to me, I'm like, I really need to do more of that. Send quick mini videos to my clients so they have a better recognition of who you are. Right. And I think because since you're coming from a position of being authentic and it's just you, hey, what's up? I'm here at this property, just checking this one out. I'm not sure if this one's for you, but I wanted to show you it. Take a peek-see, whatever. That separates you from probably at least 99% of other agents. Because I don't think a lot of, especially the older agents, they're not taking the time to do a vid or making a personal connection with a person like that.
It's not hard. It's not hard to do. It's definitely not hard to do, right? Like you're just clicking the button same way. And honestly, I don't remember the last time someone sent me a video that I didn't open. Right? So you're talking about, was it 95 to 99% of text messages get open?
Yeah.
When's the last time you didn't open a video?
Right. I just 100%. Did one 2 days ago. It was I timed it. It was 2.5 minutes, and it kind of sucked because I was sitting there fumbling, just like setting it up.
Yeah.
But even as I'm fumbling, I didn't edit that out.
Yes.
I left that there. I'm like, damn, stupid phone. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. I get this thing down. Hold on. Okay. So now, and then
we're human.
And I just continued on. But the person replied back. They were like, dude, that's so dope. I can't wait for us to connect. Da, 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 da. I'm like, man, this is so easy. Yeah. I get to be myself.
Yes.
Wow. Refreshing. So now you're doing the videos for your clients.
Yeah.
What other types of things are you doing to try to stay connected? Because I think if you're pushing that needle of conversion rate and capture, what other things are you incorporating as part of your business to really um, continue that connection?
Simple. I mean, video, phone call, text. I don't do anything. I really don't do anything out of the ordinary as far as like holding that relationship together.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely text quite a bit, right? To the point where I'm almost texting them as if they're like I wouldn't say like my best friend, but a friend,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it is pretty often.
You're
that I'm
carrying
texting
on
them.
conversations.
Yes. And it's not just about real estate. It's about their dog. It's about their plans for the evening. It's about their plans for the weekend. And I mean, the dialogue was set up originally, so they're asking me these same exact things. So it's hard to say that they are clients at this point when, they've essentially become a friend that eventually I'll help either get into a home or help them sell a home.
That's outstanding. And, man, dude, I wish I would have known this when I first got into the business. And it's hard to say this because I know pre-COVID, we used to talk about this a lot. We were like, man, I used to come into work every single day in the suit. I mean, I have so many custom suits in my closet, I can't even tell you.
Sheesh.
Like, I can't even tell you, bro.
Sheesh.
I got like 4 pairs of jeans and like 15 custom suits, bro. Seriously. And different shoes to match and probably like, I can't even tell you how many shirts. Just dress shirts.
And it's not a bad thing. Different strokes, different
No,
folks.
you know what though? But it's so strange though that now, when I'm dealing with clientele, especially with investors and first time home buyers, and they're just like, hey, you know what? I'm looking to rent out a property in Pacific Beach. I come to meet with them, and they're just casual. They're relaxed. They're real human. I think COVID changed a lot of that. Mm-hmm. Now, don't get me wrong. There was time and place where you got to get dressed up and, that business profile. But I feel like a lot of the type of connection that we're making with people is really rooted now into levels of authenticity. Yeah. And, now even using Zoom, I see people popping up on my Zoom chat when I'm talking to them, and their kids are in the back of the house. They're screaming, super cash. They're cooking, husband's in the back. Hey, Anthony, how's it going? And I'm like, awesome, You
love it.
And it's cool.
Yeah.
It's a different type of connection. It's a complete different type of vibe. And it did for me because it's just of previous experience. It felt awkward at first. But I feel like this next generation of agent has a very, very strong tactical advantage of being able to build that connection. So I think a lot of guys like myself that are old timers in the business need to really stop and embrace more of that.
But you're doing that already. Come on now.
Bro,
Come on now.
I'm trying, dude. I'm trying.
Better than most. Better than most. That's for sure.
I'll tell you the honest to God truth is because I became a student. I just swallow the ego and just said, you know what? There's a lot of things in this business I don't know. And so when I see the way that you operate and how you're doing certain things in your business, and I see the success that pops from that, I'm like, well, just like sitting back in the open house and watching this perfume lady come in, it's detaching for a second, looking at it from a 10,000 foot view and saying, wow, there's actually a much easier way to do business. And when you're coming from that authentic position, and not trying to be the other person. I've seen the downside of that other side. Trust me when I tell you this. But I have also seen the generational difference of the connection as well. So when there's individuals that are in their mid-20s and 30s, I can't tell you who the most recent artist on music is going to be other than house. Different. I got that down. I'm all, that's my jam.
Jamming.
But other than that, like there's this culture gap.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think it's now a culture gap. I think it's a communication gap. That's really what is missing in a lot of our business in our industry. So the way that you're communicating to your client and building that type of rapport, it may feel a little uncomfortable for me to not have to do that. Yeah. However, it is a new skill set or something that does need to be adopted to be able to get into the next type of home buyers that are going to be moving in, because that's what they're going to expect. That's how they communicate.
Yeah.
So That's kind of what I'm taking away from a lot of this now.
I'd even want to piggyback on where you mentioned communication, and the idea is not to understand and know just one language, because it's, I mean, in the opposite, like for me to step into a different room and decide, oh, like I would like to work with said client. Well, yeah, I have to show up in a suit and tie, and I have to use that language in order to play ball with this client. And it's understanding that you would have to be able to speak multiple languages or understand that
social chameleon.
Yes.
I think I do agree with that, because there is the two paradigms, but regardless of whether you're going to be that social chameleon, I think it's ultimately still being very deeply rooted in yourself and who you are as an individual.
So you don't lose yourself. Yeah.
So you don't lose yourself. And I think that's the moral of the story. Yeah. That's awesome, bro. So now, as you're working yourself through this current market cycle, do you have a specific pattern of client that you're now starting to see come out of this current cycle? Because one of the conversations I had with somebody the other day was that there's a lot more divorces that we see. We see a lot of people with distressed sales, having a lot of debt. It's all the D's: the death, divorce, distressed, decline in income, downsizing. It's not what we had a couple years ago of that fear of missing out. Yeah. Like, I got to get in. Yep. Now the market conditions has completely shifted. So how are you approaching it now? Because it's much more of the D side and then having to make that connection. So how are you approaching that?
I mean, ultimately, the way that I go about real estate is never from a place of pressure. Right. So I don't put pressure on any of my clients. It's more so I'm here as a liaison. I'm here to help. Right. If there's no problem, how can I provide a solution at the end of the day? Right. So maybe someone is going through death in the family and they're looking to downsize, whatever it may be. Well, there goes my problem. Ergo, I do have a solution for that. I'll help you out. Right. But it's never myself pushing the agenda. Because, I mean, if someone pushes an agenda on you, what's the first thing? Shock, like, oh, what am I supposed to do? How do I go about doing this? Yeah, well, I'll tell you, but if you're not ready for it all up front, then I lost you. You know, it's all about matching the pace of your clients.
Interesting. So matching the pace of the client, finding the need, solving the problem, being authentic. Those are lots of words of wisdom for being relatively newer in the business.
I feel like a baby in this business, man.
You
like
know
a
what, though?
Baby.
Man, don't feel bad. I can tell you, I see agents that are 15 years in the business living their freshman year. They have not changed. One of the things I got lucky getting in, because one of my bosses was a previous Navy SEAL, and he would use a lot of knowledge from the military side into our business, right? Yeah. And so, because he was looking at it from the outside looking in, and so some of the little things that he would tell us, were like universal principles. And so one of them was recognizing that change is always necessary. You know, that when you're working with a business partner or an agent or a relationship, if they don't recognize that change is always necessary and they don't evolve, then they become the dinosaur. An REO agent trying to sell bank-owned properties when that's not the nature of the business. And the market conditions may shift to that at some point, but if you don't recognize change is necessary, that could be a bad thing. Yeah. Or concept of a partnership. So when I'm working with our 31 beaches and our property management guys or agents that specialize in specific types of listings or whatever it may be, we all insurance, we all have our different areas of expertise and we leverage off of one another. So the concept of a partnership is really important. But not only that, though, it's waking up with a purpose with a positive attitude. That is such a hard thing, because if you get into this business and if you don't wake up with a purpose with a positive attitude, yeah, maybe that one podcast might pump you up for the day. It may change your mood, but it starts in here and it starts in here.
Yes.
Right. And the ether is never permanent. It's just a short-term fix. But waking up with that gratitude and staying positive and staying motivated is like one of the four things, right? So that's three. And then the fourth one, which is the hardest, and this is one I'm trying to practice more so, is the coachability, is being coachable. Taking information like someone like yourself, even though you have maybe not the longest time in real estate,
Yeah.
but you're seeing certain things that someone like myself can learn from. So that's why I say you can be in this business for 15 years and still be almost a freshman in the business because they failed to recognize that change is necessary and they fail to be coachable.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. If I definitely pride myself as being a listener, and so that coachability is definitely higher. I'll seriously. I mean, I'll stay quiet, but I'm listening with intent, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're speaking, I'm 99% sure that you have something to say.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Somewhere in there that's of importance. And I'm not going to write that off, right? Someone gave you a voice and you're using it, right? I mean, what's in between? Obviously, it's left to be deciphered. But at the end of the day, I'm taking notes, man.
Yeah,
I'm taking notes.
That's awesome, bro. That's awesome, dude. Well, that what do they say, that was high kinetic impact for me personally.
Same.
I got a lot of takeaways from that.
Same.
So, I get humbled when I hear these little nuggets and then apply them, and I'm like, man, holy crap, that's such a different way to look at things, and I really appreciate that.
I appreciate you.
Oh, thanks, you brother.
Appreciate you, man.
So, thanks for coming into the lab. Hope you guys got something out of this today, guys. I know that sometimes we get points in our business where we've been doing this for a long period of time, but there's a lot of times where we get these little nuggets of information that changes the complete way you perceive the business, how you approach it. And number one, at the end of the day, is being authentic and being yourself, and stay true to that. And people will attract to you for that.
That's it.